guys of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Listen, everyone in the hockey world watched that game. We all know what happened. I'm not going to comment on them. We have our opinions, but what's the point? I hope you can all write about it and talk about it, but there's no point in whining about it now.
Juicy. Dino. Curious to hear what old Dex Tweet's pie chart looks like. How much is it? Just 100% to the refs screwing the Minnesota Wild? We're going to find out here. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. Your home for daily Minnesota sports entertainment, speculation, and maybe in this case, therapy. And you may be wondering, where the hell's Judd? Where was Judd on Judd's hockey show last night? Is Judd okay? Did Judd have another appendectomy? Can you even have another appendectomy? Nope. Judd took a load management day. It's his 30th anniversary this weekend, so he's doing the right thing and hanging out with his wife of 30 years. We told him, take a day. It's the first time you've actually taken a day without having an emergency operation in 4 years. So old Dex's hockey show was on fire last night.
Yeah, we had some lineup changes. Speaking of lineup changes, goalie rotations and who should play, who's going to be in scratch and whatnot. AJ and I were luckily able to hold it down and talk to some Wild fans yesterday. My fiance said, wait, Judd's taking vacation? And Judd's taking a vacation during a playoff run?
I know.
So she twofold. She said, wow, that's shocking. And two, she said, okay, so that means you could do it too, like sometime. Like you could potentially take it. And I said,
Yes.
I'll let you know. Yeah, it depends on the circumstance. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if we can fit that in for you.
Yeah, everyone was kind of shocked. Like, wait, he's gonna miss a Monday after a playoff game? What's happening? But listen, we encourage a healthy, balanced lifestyle here at Score North, unless it's Viking season. But all right, we digress. Declan has your pie chart of blame for a Game 4 loss to the Dallas Stars. Let's fire this up.
Now on Mackey and Judd,
This chart makes it as clear as I can to you.
the pie chart of blame.
You want to blame somebody?
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
All right. If it were me, I would just ship a second pie and give them both 100% to the refs for just being idiots in that game. But that's just me. Curious to see where you stand.
So the refs are on this pie chart, Phil. There's 5 chunks of pie, 5 pieces of pie coming at you for this Game 4 loss. And this might be shocking. The first piece of pie will go to the refs, but it is just 5%.
Wow, look at you.
Just 5%, just a little appetizer, a little couple bites. As I was doing some wedding food tasting last week. This is just a little scoop.
It's like the ahi tuna crisps.
Oh yeah, let me just reach in there and just get a little bite.
It's the coconut shrimp, is what this is.
Just 5%. I'm not gonna. This is not a podcast, by the way, where we like to rip referees or blame referees for shortcomings in situations.
Yeah, overcome it. Figure it out.
There was 60 minutes to play a hockey game. You had plenty of opportunities. You had plenty of times to get on the score sheet more. You had power plays too, by the way, and you weren't able to convert them outside of the last one towards the end that forced it to be a 1-goal game with a minute to go. I'm not going to come out here and blame the refs completely. If you're asking my honest opinion, I think the 2 that were called on Foligno are complete BS. I agree with Marcus Foligno. He used those exact words in the post-game press conference, that it was BS, his 2 penalties that were assessed against him, which do lead to Stars goals. But the Wild had 60 minutes to win this game. Numerous opportunities, which I'll get into later in this pie chart. This is just a small piece. I know a lot of fans were upset with them. Rightfully so. It was a bad officiated game. That being said, it wasn't the biggest reason by any means you lost, just 5%.
Okay, 2 quick questions. So number 1, I don't want to spoil anything. Does Foligno come up again in your pie chart?
He does not.
Okay, so we'll put a pin in that and circle back here in a second, because I want to ask my second question too. On that tripping penalty, where he's like making a beeline for the boards, and I don't know, he was gonna make a check, but then he I don't know, it was kind of a weird. He kind of stumbles. It looked like a bull charging a matador or something, and like the matador's got the red blanket or whatever, and then like Foligno kind of charges through, sort of clips the guy's skates a little, and you'll have to. Who was the player again for the Stars?
I forget who exactly it was off the top of my head.
But he had a stick up, and it actually hits Foligno in the head. Yeah. And so my first thought was, should that be high sticking? That should almost be something on Dallas, and tripping on Foligno felt like Okay, should they both be getting a 2-minute penalty? Should it just be a no call? That one felt a little sketch to me. It didn't look like a trip, and Foligno winds up with a bloody nose because of a high stick. So that was the one that I had a major problem with.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you noticed that it cut his nose. Like, he literally was cut from it.
It drew blood, correct.
Yes, which typically, even though that was like incidental and it wasn't malicious by any means of them, scraping your nose against a stick, usually I thought they were taking both. I thought that's what was happening when the play kind of unfolded after the whistle. Like, oh, they're going to take both of them. And what, on the officiating point, Ryan Reeves said in the first intermission with Bally's that I kind of like they're letting us play a little bit. Like, the refs kept their whistles down. It was a classic playoff game of checking back and forth and some good opportunities for the Wild. The Wild held serve too. And it was like, okay, they're going to put the whistles away. Well, second, third period, different story. They end up calling some ticky-tack things, which I don't love to see in the postseason. But again, I don't think it's the main reason why you lost yesterday against the Stars.
So if I could add one more thing on Foligno, I believe he whiffed on a beautiful pass across the crease, just a wide open back post, and he just fanned on it. I don't know if it came up too quick and got up on his hands, but it was just a beautiful chance for a goal, and he fanned on it. So and that all kind of happened within like a 5 or 10 minute sequence where he fans on the wide open net, and then gets the tripping penalty. So, I don't know. Old Macadac might have put 3 to 5% for Foligno specifically in this game.
He had another play like that, too, I believe, in Game 3, where he had a backdoor wide open opportunity. It was a really good save by Ottinger, don't get me wrong. But still, he has to convert some of those, but just 5% for me, Phil, on the officiating. So that's okay. One piece of pie is down. Second piece of pie is a lifetime achievement piece of pie, Phil. 10%. 10% to the Wild's ineptitude to go up significantly in a playoff series. The Wild have been to the playoffs 12 times in their franchise. 12 times. I'm excluding the little bubble play-in that they had with Vancouver during COVID. I'm not going to include that one. They've been to the playoffs, though, naturally, 12 times. Not once has the Minnesota Wild gone up 2-0 in a best-of-7 series. And they have never gone up 3-1 in a best-of-7 series.
Have they ever won? Okay, I think most of their series victories, they were down 3-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
03.
03, they had the back-to-back ones, yes. I don't know if they were down 3-1 to the Avs in 2014 with Nino Niederreiter, Game 7. When they beat the Blues in 2015, that happened in 6. Like, they won that series in 6, which was respectable. Typically, though, it is an absolute grind for this franchise just to get a playoff series win, and it's incredible.
Aren't they like 1-9 in Game 4 too? Specifically, they can't win Game 4.
Yes, they
Some
are.
Weird stat.
Horrendous in games 4 and I also believe Game 1. They won Game 1 of this series. But yeah, just how do you not? You've been to the playoffs more than half of your existence. Okay, you've been to the postseasons, at least the first round of it, and not once have you just accidentally gone up 3-1.
It is super weird.
How do you not even do? You have a chance here to go back to Dallas with the pressure on them, and even worst case, the series comes back with you up 3-2, right? Which I know can still happen, but you could have went up 3-1, put all the pressure on Dallas in their own barn for Game 5, and you couldn't do it. It's incredible. It's an ineptitude. It is a lifetime achievement piece of pie for me.
And it's different. What's funny is over the 20 years, it's different ownership. It's different front offices, different coaches, different players, different superstars, different goalies. And they just, you're right. They just oddly can't create any separation in any playoff series.
It's incredible. All right, third piece of pie coming at you here. Lack of converting odd man rushes, 20%. So the Wild, I believe, halfway through the second, Phil, I think the graphic was shown on the screen from TNT TBS crew, was 8-1 odd man rushes. The Stars left Ottinger out to hang numerous times. You talked about the Foligno one. There was numerous other plays that the Wild had odd man rushes. The Stars defensively were kind of a disaster yesterday. Ottinger was just the star of the show. Jake Ottinger by far was the best player on the ice on either side. And the Wild had numerous opportunities to cash in on those 2-on-1 breakaway situations. They couldn't do so. We talk about the refs, kind of screwing them over a little bit. We talk about ticky-tack calls. The Wild had every opportunity to put the puck in the back of the net, and they just could not convert. So 20% to the lack of converting those odd man rushes. You only get so many opportunities like that, and especially for a team that is decently defensively. Like Dallas isn't, I wouldn't say it's their MO. They have a really good goalie. They have a really good offense. But when they give you those many opportunities, especially in a playoff game, you have to convert. So 20%.
Well, it takes, this is hockey expert old Mackey coming in here telling you what's what, but to me, it doesn't feel like they have enough skill to really like tic-tac-toe pass their way through odd man rushes. So what's the tactic? If you're not going to ping, a beautiful 3-on-2, 2-on-1 goal, right, which in the past they have had some. I remember when Parisi first came along and you had at least a top line that could kind of tic-tac-toe its way to goals in those situations. Isn't the best strategy to just try and get a puck on net, a rebound, and go from there? Sometimes it feels like they don't even get the puck on net in odd man rushes.
Yeah, they can get a little too pass happy. I'll have a piece of Zuccarello later on in this podcast that is more of a group chunk of pie. But I would to answer your question, just shoot the puck more, right? I mean, that's honestly the simplest answer I can give. Shoot the dang puck more. Don't wait for the prettiest pass. Zuccarello's really guilty of that. Boldy has been a really good guy who can shoot a lot, but there was plays yesterday where it's like, dude, just take the shot. You're one of the most skilled player on the ice right now. Just take the dang shot. Ottinger's really good. Again, don't get me wrong. Ottinger was the star of that show yesterday, pun intended. But you got to convert those odd man rushes. So 20% in this pie chart of blame to the lack of converting those situations.
And if you don't convert those situations, your season might end early, and you'll be looking for tee times if you're the Minnesota Wild. You better watch out.
Yeah, you got to convert those chances. When you get long putts like this, you got to absolutely step in and hit it. Especially, if it took you 3 chances to get up on this little, short par 4, and I need a par really, really bad. I have too many bogeys on the scorecard, and luckily I sunk the par here at the Meadows at Mystic Lake, which is one of the most scenic and best award-winning public golf courses in the state. They're getting closer and closer to opening. Okay, folks. So go to golfthemeadows.com. The weather is finally warming up a little bit. Go check out information to book those tee times, get the frequent player card, go check out the Meadows Bar and Grill. Plenty of great options. Go to golfthemeadows.com to stay updated.
Yeah.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
I'm ready. I think I was a little ambitious this weekend. I thought it's not that bad. It's like 36. I went to the Twins game on Saturday, and I decided I took a scooter. I just grabbed one of those like Lime scooters. Yeah. I love scootering. I just love grabbing these little,
hell yeah,
whatever they're called, Limes, and there's like 3 different brands. But I had a light sort of windbreaker, no gloves and no stocking cap. And I was trying to go about a mile downtown from the east side of downtown over to Target Field and then back. Dude, I thought I had frostbite on my hands. And you're going like 15 miles an hour. But by the time I got done, I was like, okay, maybe we're still a week away from actually being outside. I don't know.
I was organizing, I think on Friday night, actually, right before the WoW game started. We were like having a late dinner, and I was organizing my bag. I was like throwing out all scorecards and putting new golf balls in. I got some new glove. I got a new golf glove over the weekend. And my fiance was like, "You want to do this so bad, don't you?" Like, I'm dying. Like, I need to get out there. I can't wait anymore. So
Dude, I actually on the golf topic real quick. So I'm such a sucker for Instagram ads. Yeah. Like my phone just hears anything that I say. Like right now, I could just say a random word and I would get an ad on Instagram and probably just buy the thing, right? And so I get roped into some of these weird like make your golf swing better products.
I've been this guy too, yes.
And I don't know, maybe someone can point me away from this, but I've seen 3 ads for the Swing Master Pro where it's like a practice club, and it's got kind of a bar that kind of goes into your chest so that you can have it basically helps you create a more consistent swing plane, right?
Mm-hmm. I've seen this one.
And I mean, it's like a hunk of metal with 2 prongs coming out of it that they just put a golf grip on. And I'm like, I bookmarked it last night. I'm just ready to buy all the golf products. Help me shoot 88 instead of 95. I'll give you my money, Instagram.
I bought one. I think it's called the Hanger. And what it is it goes near the edge of the shaft of your club, and it's supposed to stay on your wrist basically as you come through.
Yeah.
And as you come down. And if you're not, like if it's going off or left or right, then that means a slice or that means a hook. Yeah, so I'm with you on buying like things to make your golf swing go from me like 105 to 98. Like I'm just saying, that's my ballpark, okay? I'm just trying to consistently shoot under 100.
The Rock knows how you feel.
Anyway, we got 2 more slices of wild pie chart here. Pie chart of blame.
4th piece of pie, special teams. Special teams, penalty kill, special teams, power play. Right now, the Dallas Stars have converted 7 of 16 of their power play opportunities. Now, I know officiating has been ticky-tacky. You don't love it. But at the end of the day, you do have to stop some of these pucks, okay? 7 out of 16 is unacceptable. If you want to really look at 5-on-5, the Wild have had the advantage this series. When they've had 5-on-5 on the ice, the Wild have held their own against a team that is deep offensively with great superstar players, probably the best center depth in the NHL. I know they lost Joe Pavelski too early on, but a very good offensive team. 5-on-5, I thought this was going to be a huge mismatch. Actually, the Wild have held their own. The problem is when they've gone to the box, they're giving up power plays basically every other opportunity. And conversely, the Wild's power play itself is 4 of 17, which is not great either. You want to be a little bit better than that. So when you get those opportunities, you can't pass them up. You're not going to go 100% on the power play, obviously. But when you get those opportunities, 1 in every 3, 1 in every 4, you have to convert. And defensively, the Wild have just been a disaster on the penalty kill. Special teams has been probably the biggest difference maker. Otherwise, the Wild have, honestly, I thought, have really dominated this series in that teeter-totter. It's been the special teams that has been the difference maker that has kept Dallas, in my opinion, in this playoffs.
It feels like when Dallas is on the power play, they're getting to the perfect spots on the ice. It's like high danger central 3 or 4 times on every power play, it would seem, for Dallas. And whether it's Fleury or the Gus bus, there's really no goalie on the planet that's going to stop shots like that. So that's definitely been a thing. And it is surprising, like 5-on-5, you would have thought, like you said, the series would be kind of flipped, that you're going to try and, maybe you can get 4 power plays a night and cash in on 1 or 2 of them and win games that way. But okay. And then the 5th chunk of pie.
All right, final piece of pie, the biggest chunk of pie. If you're scoring at home, there is a 40% chunk of this pie still left, and it is to superstars disappearing. Superstars disappearing. The Wild have scored 13 goals in these 4 games, and those 13 goals have been scored by 9 different players, which is great. It's depth, right? Hashtag depth, hashtag grit, I think, which is the Wild's official slogan. You've had some depth. However, Kirill Kaprizov, who should be the best player on the ice, has 1 goal, no assists, 13 shots in 4 games. Matt Boldy has no goals, 3 assists, and had 0 shots on goal yesterday. These are your 2 best players. I love that there's depth showing up. I love that random guys like Marcus Foligno are kind of waking up here and scoring some big-time goals for you. But the best 2 players in the ice right now for the Wild are obviously Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy. They traded away Kevin Fiala, right? Because he said he's not a playoff performer. He can't score in the playoffs. Matt Boldy's younger. Matt Boldy can do this. Well, so far, Matt Boldy has no goals. Kirill Kaprizov, who was awesome last year in the series against the Blues, was kind of the opposite, where Kirill was scoring all the goals. The rest of the Wild weren't. Well, so far, your best 2 players on your team have combined for 1 goal. There hasn't been a game yet where one of these 2 dudes has taken things over. Now, you'd like to think that law of averages, hey, maybe it happens on Tuesday, right?
This could be a good sign, right? I guess one way to look at it is if those guys, if Boldy and Kaprizov start to click, like in the second half of the season, for Boldy anyways, and Kaprizov was injured, I mean, they could not only beat Dallas 2 of the next 3 games, but if those guys get hot into the second round or something, it's kind of interesting that if you would have said, hey, if you would have laid that out before the series and said, hey, so Boldy's going to do nothing and he's going to have a game with no shots on goal, and Kaprizov's going to be active but not really, putting the puck in the back of the net, and it's going to be a 2-2 series going into the last 3 games, I would have said, okay, all right. I thought they'd be down 3-1 or maybe swept if that was the case.
Yeah, and I think if you would have said same thing, that going into Game 5, the series is even, so it's 2-2 apiece, and you haven't yet had a Kirill moment, you haven't had a Matt Boldy moment, I think you'd be like, well, how the hell do they get 2 games? How are they tied at 2? Did they just get stellar goaltending? And I think Gustafsson has held his own so far. We'll see what happens, by the way, in Game 5. I think it's still Gustafsson's net. I was talking with AJ about this yesterday. I wouldn't be shocked, Phil. I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be pretty upset. I think if they gave it to Fleury.
Did it open the door? Because Dean wants to alternate these guys. I think it probably pained him a little bit. This was only the second time in like a month and a half that Gustafsson had played consecutive games. Did yesterday open the door for Dean to say, all right, so he wasn't Superman. He wasn't completely lights out. I don't think he was bad in that game, but I wonder if it opened the door to go back to Fleury. which could be a series altering. I mean, you could already argue that the decision to go to Fleury in the first place, that they should be up 3-1, like that it's already a series altering decision. But God, if you do it and he gives up 5 or 6 goals again, and now you're down 3-2, I would keep going with the Gus bus.
I think you have to. I think you have to ride for. I know last year they said they were going to do a rotation, and then it was Fleury for 5 games, and they gave it to Talbot in Game 6 when then it was basically over. But Gustafsson deserves to be in the net. He's been the better goaltender. It's not even a debate at that point. I know they love to rotate, but it's not even a debate for me. You got to have Gustafsson in there. On the superstars disappearing too, back to that last chunk of pie. And I know Matt Zuccarello is not necessarily a superstar. He's not on the same level of Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, and he played very well in Game 3, but he has been, in my opinion, just a disaster. Gustav Nyquist, who they got at the trade deadline, who was injured and was able to get healthy right before the regular season ended, in my opinion, has been one of the best players on the ice for the Wild. And with Kirill struggling a little bit, they don't love to mix up Kirill and Matt Zuccarello at this point. Kirill hasn't done anything in 4 games. And instead of just waiting the chemistry's always there, it's go time here. Put up Nyquist with Kirill Kaprizov.
We
have to go. You got to get that guy going. So 5 pieces of pie in that pie chart of blame. 40% to superstars disappearing, 25% to special teams, 20% to the lack of converting odd man rushes, 10% to the Wild's ineptitude to go up significantly in a series, and 5% to the referees. That is a chart of blame.
There it is. Declan's hockey show now.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Sorry, Judd. You take a day off, you lose your spot in line. We're going to change the branding, the podcast art today. If you missed the post-game edition of that or Flagrant Howls, you can find Judd's Hockey Show post-game, Game 4, and Flagrant Howls post-game, Game 4 on the Score North YouTube channel, and both podcast feeds for both shows, too. If you haven't already, click subscribe and the like button on the Score North YouTube channel. You guys are helping us, thank you so much, build an amazing Minnesota sports fan community here, and we greatly appreciate it. So, all right, there's your Minnesota sports with Mackey and Judd fix today. Purple Daily, I'm very excited because, my God, I would say very thick steam as it pertains to Vikings and quarterbacks in the first round. So be sure to check that out. And tomorrow, I've just received confirmation via direct message here, I think, that Randy in Cottage Grove, Randy Vike 69 has a 7-round Vikings mock for us on the show tomorrow. See ya.